Hey, this episode is brought to you by the Big Sky Community Rodeo. You got horses running, you got horses bucking, and you got horses even turning around things. How fun does that sound? Come on out, buy some tickets, and we'll see you there. I am with the MSU Rodeo Team out at their practice facility in Belgrade. It's an undisclosed location. And I'm with Savanna Bolich, assistant coach, Claire Kalafatic, competitor, athlete, and Ava Shepard, also rodeo athlete. Thank you guys so much for agreeing to do this interview with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate it. All right, so the MSU Rodeo Team has been in existence since 1947. Started just kind of like on a lark as a club with a $100 sponsorship from the Ag Club, and now look at what it's become.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how much it's grown. Even just in the past 10 years, I've seen a lot of growth. And then it was a club up until 2021, actually. 2021, it officially went to the athletic department at MSU. So that's been a big change. But up until then, it was its own independent club and self-sufficient and did a really good job.
And over the years, you guys have been so competitive. You've won 9 national team titles, 35 individual national championships. Do you feel just so smug when you walk by the football facility and you see there 3 that they have posted on the wall?
Well, it's pretty amazing the accomplishments that Montana has had as a whole in the rodeo world, how well they've done at the college finals, because we're competitive nationally pretty much from the beginning, which is pretty amazing. So I do think that our school has a lot of pride in that, which is a cool thing to be a part of, for sure.
And in seriousness, you do have a really cool relationship with the football program. You guys participate in the run out, then they come and they participate in your big events. What is it like, working with the football program, getting in front of all those folks?
There's really nothing like it. We're the only team that I know of that has that, inner team connection, and it's really fun. You feel like you're part of the community.
Yeah. Have you participated in the runouts?
We have.
It's so much energy and explosions. How are the horses not freaking out?
It's quite an experience. It takes a special horse to do it. We tend to share horses on the team that can go through the experience and handle it well. So. Okay.
And you guys are both sophomores.
Yeah.
This is your second year competing, and you're just telling me you bring your own horse. I'm trying to figure out how this facility works. But you have your own personal horse here.
We
Correct.
do.
Yeah.
And it just lives here.
Yep.
Okay. And then you come to visit it. How often are you coming to the facility?
We come out about twice a day to feed and go to practice and everything, but our coach lives on the facility, so he can keep an eye on it while we go to class.
And are you riding? Are you carpooling? How is this work? That's so much time on the road, it seems like.
It really depends. Some people carpool, some people just come on their own.
Okay. Does your horse seem to like it here?
They do.
They love it here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Bozeman.
Okay.
I grew up in Idaho.
And are most of the athletes ranch kids? Did they grow up doing this sort of activity? Or I want to hear about the kid from Chicago who grew up training on a mechanical bull.
Yeah, it's I would say we have a little bit of everything. Typically, rodeo kids who are at this level have a pretty significant background in it. I would say it's not a sport that's easy to just step into as you get older, but there's always those few stories that will have a kid that comes and is interested, and Kyle's pretty good at taking those kind of kids under his wing, especially for the men's events, because a lot of the men's events you don't need as much horsepower, so you can kind of come to practice and maybe try getting on a bucking horse or whatever. So we do have had a couple of those stories. That's pretty cool.
They just want to try it out.
And it's not something that we do a ton, but for the right kid that works really hard, there's been a few like the kid from over there. So
all right,
that was pretty cool.
And Kyle lives on site.
Yep.
He's another coach.
Yep.
And so is he like the caretaker of this whole establishment? How does the practice facility work?
It's kind of a work in progress. It's the first time that MSU's had a rodeo facility in its whole history. So this will be the third year that we've owned it. And it's definitely been an adjustment of learning how much management we need, how much funding we need to run a place like this. But right now it's a team effort, honestly. We don't have extra staff that come out. We have most of our projects and work we've done, we've hired out and funded that through our own program. So it's definitely a self-sufficient kind of product of the rodeo team, and it's a huge benefit. It adds a lot of work. It adds a lot of responsibility to us as coaches, them as, people who are using it. But it adds a ton of benefit. They're able to all kind of be at the same place. They're able to get way more practice than they previously had been. And so it's definitely a positive thing. But as far as managing it, they're responsible for cleaning up after their own horses, taking care of their own stuff. And then we do a lot of our maintenance and projects in the off season when it's a little more empty out here. But we feed our own stock. Everybody kind of pitches in for that. And
how many horses are here?
We have over 100 on the place.
Over 100. So. And is it all just the athletes who are coming out and doing the caretaking?
Yep.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, and we have all of our practice stock too, because the other thing with rodeo that's different is you have to have a lot of stock to practice on. So we have around 75 calves, we've got about 55 steers, and then next year we're also bringing our bucking stock, so we'll have bucking horses and bulls out here too. So it's a lot. There's a lot of animals to take care of just to be able to practice. So that's definitely a team effort.
What are the goats for back here?
The goat tying.
So you do tie them up?
Yep, it's an event.
That's an event in the college rodeo.
Yep.
Tell me about the goat tying.
So I don't know. I guess it probably stemmed from the calf roping, but the girls run down, get off their horse, tie their goat. It's very fast. It's very competitive. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's always a little interesting to explain, but then you see the video and you're like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. So
I'm sorry that I don't know more. Am I the most rodeo ignorant person that's ever been on site here?
No,
definitely not.
We get a lot of visitors, which I think is cool. Bozeman, even if they don't know anything about rodeo in general, I would say the average person in Bozeman loves the rodeo team and wants to hear about it, and so we get a lot of visitors come out and check everything out.
Is this unique, or do other college rodeo programs have a big practice facility like this?
I would say most teams have something. It just depends. There's a huge range of college rodeo programs and sizes. Bigger programs tend to have a little bit better setup for practice facility. There's some small schools that might have to rent a fairgrounds or something to practice. It's definitely not common to have what we have here with the boarding and the practice on the same facility for this big of a team. So I'd say we're pretty unique in that fact for sure.
Okay. I mean, one thing I do know is that you guys kind of dominate. You're leading the national rankings right now. You had a really good MSU spring rodeo, kind of dominated that. Are you guys like the Kansas City Chiefs of collegiate rodeo? Is that fair to say?
I don't know enough about football to answer that one.
Neither do I.
Are you the perennial favorite? And do people tend to despise you because you're so good?
I don't know if despise. I do think that the blue and gold is respected in the rodeo world, in the college rodeo world. There's really not anybody that hasn't heard of or knows something about Montana State Rodeo. It's just one of those traditional programs that has stood the test of time, per se.
Okay.
So I do think it's well known, it's respected, and the team takes that pretty seriously. It's kind of an honor to represent, and we talk about that a lot. And I do think that you get a little confidence from being a part of it and wearing that vest. So, but they have to work for it. I mean, our region is tough, and there's a lot of good athletes, and so it's definitely not like, they don't give us a run for our money at the rodeos for sure. So
135 teams, is that right?
That might be right for the National Association.
That's impressive
rodeo.
that you guys can sort of be the cream of the crop with that many different competitors. Are you on pace to win another national title this year, would you say?
I think we have a pretty good chance, good a chance as any. year that I've seen. So we have a very strong men's team, very strong women's team, and things just kind of have to come together when we get to the national finals and see how it shakes out.
Okay. What's it like being an elite athlete in rodeo? Are you guys working out? Well, tell me about the diet of a rodeo athlete.
Well, we have team workouts twice a week in the mornings, which we're very grateful to have through the athletic department.
It's like weights?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we work out with a strength and conditioning coach on campus, and then we have practice 4 days a week out here, and it just kind of depends on your event on what time you're going to practice, but we practice as a big team, and everyone gets a chance to improve their skills and work together. So.
And like any athlete, I mean, eating healthy is super important, but it's not like we have a super strict diet we have to follow.
Yeah, not counting every calorie.
Right.
No.
Okay, but it sounds like you are getting a ton of work in every day.
Yeah.
So you probably got to mind the store a little bit. Does this sport change? Does it evolve? Like other big college sports, the equipment gets better. Sometimes there are big rules changes. And in general, the athleticism goes up and up. Is that the case with rodeo as well?
I think the biggest change is the horsepower. I mean, every year horses get faster. You need to just keep getting better every year. Stock gets tougher to ride as the years go on. So yeah. I would say, yeah.
And so does that mean times get faster?
Absolutely.
And you got to up your game to match the horse getting stronger faster.
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you say the horses are part of the team?
100%.
Yes, 100%.
Because no other sport has this many animals involved. You may have a little bulldog on the sidelines or something, but you never see this much equine husbandry involved.
It's a huge part of it, for
okay.
sure.
But it's a rotating stock of these horses and other animals.
To a point, a lot of them have horses that they'll stick with for several years once they get in a good groove with them and they're competitive. You'll see them ride the same horse for several years, depending on the event. But especially like the barrel racers, if you have a good horse and you can keep it healthy and be competitive on it, you're probably going to stick on it as long as you can.
Sure. It's like a good set of golf clubs.
Yeah.
If you're a golfer. You're not going to be caught without them. What does the post-college rodeo future look like for you guys? What do you move on to after this?
So there's a pro rodeo circuit, but a lot of the kids that are on the rodeo team are already competing at the pro level. But college rodeo takes priority during this time, and then in the off season they will compete at the pro rodeo.
So you're sort of dipping a toe.
Yeah.
As you go, but there's no draft or anything when you just start doing that exclusively, and you don't compete anymore at the college level.
Correct. You have to get your pro card, which you start by getting a permit. Then you have to win $1,000 to have your card, and then you can go down the road as much as you are willing to pay to enter.
Okay. And do any college athletes ever start doing that exclusively early?
It's very common, and then you'll also see some athletes that compete in college and also compete in pro and then make it to the national finals at the pro level too.
Okay. Are you guys doing pro stuff yet?
I personally am, yeah.
Personally, I'm not.
Not yet. Or are you're choosing not to?
Choosing not to at the moment so I can focus on school.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys good students?
Yeah.
I'd say so.
They are. I'll vouch for them.
All right. Are you pretty strict about that? Making sure they go to class?
We have to be able to enter the college rodeos, you have to stay eligible, which means you have to be taking a full course load and you have to have a certain GPA. So there's no, if you're not passing your classes, if you're not doing the college part of college rodeo, you can't compete. So all across the nation, anyone who's in the college rodeos are held to the GPA standard. And in MSU specifically, our athletic department wants to see a 3.0 to keep rodeo in the athletic department cumulative. So
okay. That's good.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that standard.
It's a high standard for sure.
Are you guys working hard to keep to that, or is it pretty easy?
In the strong season, part of the season, it's a little hard to make it to class because you're traveling so much for rodeo and trying to keep up with everything. But I mean, we all push each other to keep getting better, and so we're all pretty good about it.
All right, that's impressive. I've learned so much being out here, and it's just a gorgeous backdrop and everything. you guys got invited to Washington, D.C.,
Yes.
but then there was a weather event, and so you ended up not being able to make it. But is that basically the summary of what happened?
Yeah, so we had all of the details. So we were invited. Zinke's office invited us that fall, but there's a whole application process you have to go to. So you get invited to apply, basically. We applied, but we didn't hear that we were accepted until almost Christmas time. And so that's when our whole team's on break. So we're kind of coordinating all these details, like over the phone, and kind of seeing who wants to go. So we put this trip together. We're going to go. And then we had just actually had a team meeting of like, this is when we're leaving, this is the plan. And then the next morning they were supposed to fly out. And then Kyle and I got emails that they had just canceled the equine part of the parade. So they were like, if you haven't come yet, don't come. We're shutting it down because of the weather. They had to move it inside, which meant that all the equine groups, which we would have had horses and a wagon and everything, so we didn't get to go. So it was cool to be invited. It was the first time they'd ever even considered a rodeo program to represent Montana, basically. So it was quite the experience. We learned a lot about how the inaugural stuff works. But yeah, we didn't end up going.
It's a bummer, but it's also a great sign of how far you've come as a program.
For sure.
Right, to even be invited to something like that is great. Do you feel like when you guys made the appearance on College Game Day, was that a big sort of
I think
event?
That was a lot of publicity for sure. I think it kind of tapped into maybe some people that might not normally see anything about Montana State Rodeo and kind of put us on the radar of a different demographic.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, and hopefully we'll get to do that again. That was a big deal for sure. And then through the inauguration, we actually didn't really talk about it for a while because there was a lot of unknowns on if we were going to be able to do it and everything. So then when it finally did get released, it was like only a week or two out, and we have had a lot of exposure from that as well.
Yeah.
So that was a cool thing for the program. We were talking to news outlets and reporters from all over the nation. So that was pretty cool.
And it just, as the entire athletic department does better, it seems like it helps
For sure.
all the different
Yeah.
sports
For sure.
out, and you guys are certainly a big part of that and a very focal aspect of the athletic department, which is great. So thank you. That's all the questions I have. We're going to play the dumb marmot game now. Okay, this game is called Rodeo Drive. Like it or not, cowboy style has gone high end. It's part of your fault. Your culture is just it's something that people want to be a part of. I'll give you the faux roughneck clothing item and a soft celebrity who wears it. You give me the price. All right?
Okay.
We'll start with a Ralph Lauren purple label Western shirt. It's a classic Western snap shirt. This is worn by Idris Elba. Can you guess how much
How much?
this Ralph Lauren
I don't know.
shirt goes for?
400?
Man, it's pretty close.
I was gonna say like
The range is $500 to $700 that I found. How about a Kimo Sabi hat? This is a custom beaver felt hat. All right, worn by Matthew McConaughey on the sidelines of a Texas Longhorns football game. How much you think that hat goes for? I think they're custom made in Aspen, Colorado.
oh gosh, hats
Pretty,
can be anywhere.
pretty
from
cowboy right there, isn't it?
5,000? I don't know.
I've only got $900.
Oh, I don't know.
You're shooting for the stars.
I
All right,
guess.
how about this? I don't even know how to say it. Hermes? Is that how we say that fancy brand? Hermes Rodeo Collection belt and buckle. This is associated with Beyonce. I couldn't find a picture of her wearing one. But the Hermes Rodeo belt, 32 millimeter.
2,500?
I've got 1125. That's an expensive belt, though. Look how thin
Yeah.
it is. All right. Chrome Hearts cowboy boots. We've got Timothy Chalamet wearing these at the SAG Awards. Also, Kim Kardashian and Lady Gaga have worn the Chrome Hearts cowboy boots. Very trendy. I'm not sure how they'd hold up in the stirrups.
I don't know.
What do we
1,000?
call them? What'd you say?
1,000?
$8,000.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
wow.
Yeah,
All right.
these are nice
Fancy.
boots. All right, last one. This is a Yeah, here we go. There's Elvis Presley wearing a vintage nudie suit. So this is a rhinestone cowboy suit. This one's actually gold lame, designed by Nudie Cone.
I feel like that's got to be more
Like
expensive.
12 grand probably.
It was $10,000 in 1957.
Oh, wow.
When Elvis wore it. So if we account for inflation, that's $112,000 in 2025. But yeah, the style has taken over and gone to a really weird place. But you guys are keeping it real here. Thank you for playing Rodeo Drive with me, and thank you for having me out here at Belgrade. How can folks support the team? When do you want them to show up next for you in a big way?
We have a couple events over the summer. We'll be at the Big Sky PBR. We'll make an appearance there. And then we have our Meet the Bobcats rodeo in August, and that's a fun one. It's kind of our season preview. We come and compete at the fairgrounds there in Bozeman and kind of show the team for the upcoming year, and that's kind of our kickoff for the season. So our last college rodeo is this coming weekend in Missoula, so our season will be technically done. We'll go to the college finals in June, and then pick back up in August for Meet the Bobcats. So we try to post, we have social media, Facebook and Instagram, and we post our schedule and events and everything on there. So
all right, so those
follow
will be
that.
in the show notes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Savanna, Claire, and Ava. Best of luck closing out this season strong, and we'll look forward to seeing you compete.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.